Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Virginia City Council chambers. This is a regularly scheduled City Council meeting. We'll call this meeting to order. Today's date is June 22nd, Tuesday, 2021. The time is 5:30 p.m. Pam, would you please take the roll call?
Baraboo,
Present.
Friedlieb,
Present.
Paulson,
Present.
Yondich,
Present.
Johnson,
Here.
Parenzelli,
Here.
Huffy.
Here. Would everyone please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you. We'll move to item 4 on the agenda, which is the public forum. This is an opportunity for anyone from the general public to come forward and speak before the council. Is anyone in the audience like to come forward this evening? Seeing none, we'll move to item 5, which is the consent agenda. The following items will be enacted by one motion unless a councilor or a citizen of the City of Virginia requests that the item be considered separately. Item 5.1 is the approval and correction of the minutes of the regular meeting that was held on June 8th, 2021. Item 5.2, adopt finance resolution number 21-012, the schedule of bills, and the new listing of bill run dated June 17th. Item 5.3, approve the temporary on-sale liquor license for Alcott Park Brewfest on August 21st, 2021. Item 5.4, approve the transient merchant license for Co T Tran doing business as Saigon Cafe for the Food Truck Festival. Item 5.5, approve the transient merchant license for Wow Catering Minnesota for the Food Truck Festival. Item 5.6, approve the one-day transient merchant license for Lee Harris doing business as Holy Smokes Catering, contingent on submitting all the required documents. And item 5.7A, approve the transient merchant license for Michelle Fowler doing business as Michelle's Doghouse Grill. And the next item is to approve Lisa Titus doing business as Southern New York Barbecue Grill LLC, and approve the transient merchant license for Greg Sundvall doing business as Wow Catering and Events, and Jerry Make doing business as Kettle Mania Kettle Corn. These are the consent items as presented today and looking for council action. Oh, I'm sorry, we have one other item. Item 5.7B, approve the massage license for Kendra Mariucci at the Blue A Salon and Spa LLC. Those are the items that are listed on the consent agenda this evening and looking for council action.
I'll move approval of the consent agenda.
Councilor Freely moves to approve the consent agenda, supported by Councilor Beyondich. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 6, appearances. We have under item 6.1, Mr. Mike Butler from Bird Scooters regarding the placement of scooters in Virginia. In the event that we take action, there's an MOU added in the packet. And I think I would like to turn this information over to, before we go with, Mr. Butler, do we have anything from you, John? John Sullivan from our planning department. John?
Thank you, Mayor. As you will recall, at the last Committee of the Whole meeting, we discussed Bird Scooter's proposal and gave you some background information. Basically, Bird Scooter is an e-bike, and they'd like to set up shop in Virginia and have their service here. They're soon to be a publicly traded company, so they're doing this all over the country. In the packet, there was a PowerPoint for you to take a look at. And now there is a memorandum of understanding, an MOU, which is the 2-page which is an agreement to have, allow bird scooters operate here in Virginia. Again, this is no cost or management responsibility for the city. It's for Bird Scooter, and it's up to them to partner with a local vendor to manage it as per the PowerPoint. That being said, I think if anybody has any questions, we can turn it over to Mr. Butler.
Not online. Not here.
Not here? Okay.
Okay, Mr. Butler is not on Zoom at this point in time. We do have a memorandum of understanding and a PowerPoint in our packet to take a look at. Seeing as Mr. Butler is not here, looking for some council action. Councilor Paulson.
Thank you, Mayor. Since the gentleman is not available to have a discussion or ask questions, I move to table this to the next, I guess, I would table it to a committee of the whole meeting that he actually can attend via remotely. And I would also like some of our maybe law enforcement to give some perspective on enforcement of our own ordinances regarding bicycles and how that would interact with each other, as well as Bill Hennis.
So the first motion that you have is to table to the next committee of whole meeting for Mr. Butler to appear along with some staff to meet and confer with law enforcement with respect to this proposal as well. Is that correct?
That is correct.
That is the motion. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Councilor Beyondich. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none.
Mayor, if
Sorry,
if staff
yes.
could be directed to what those questions are, that would help.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Mr. Zach. Thank you, Mr. Sullivan. Yeah, we could submit the questions to staff. I think the question would be, what would your question include, law enforcement, just to ensure that these scooters meet the ordinance requirements moving forward? I see we have the Wasabi Trail policies before us that was handed out by Mr. Sullivan, which would be very helpful. Councilor Paulson?
Thank you, Mayor. I think we should have this discussion at the committee level, if that's okay, John. I think some of my questions would stem and try to intertwine our comprehensive study and their recommendation for possible or potential bike lanes and what that might look like for expansion with these scooters. So I think it's a more broader-based conversation than just maybe jotting down a few questions. I'd like to maybe go over where that comprehensive plan was going and just bring in some of the staff at the city level to just understand what we might need to do or how we might need to put this forward the best way possible. I'm in favor. I think it's a positive idea, but I'd like to have a lot more discussion on it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And also, Mr. Sullivan, if I may, these scooters fall under the state bicycle laws, is that correct?
That's correct.
So we may want some information about that as well. Okay, so thank you. Anything else to add, Mr. Sullivan?
No, as I handed out the Wasabi Trail policies, I did this because at the last committee of the whole, there was follow-up. So there were some questions, and I needed to provide this, and I apologize that it wasn't in the packet, but as you can see, it's a short read. This use is allowed because it's technically an e-bike. I have presented this with City Administrator Britt C. Bennis with Nicole to discuss this program. I've also had numerous follow-up conversations with the city of Grand Rapids to see how it's still going, and it's going really well there. And I think for follow-up, for information for the council, I think Britt and I had some ideas with Brian as far as organizing these and where we would put them and how we could connect with existing trails. So that should be fine.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Sullivan. So it has been moved and supported, and the purpose to have Mr. Butler, give us a little rundown of what his company's all about and how he operates. And I think you have an idea how that's going. I think the council would like to hear directly from Mr. Butler and the company. Is that correct, Councilor Paulson? Anything else, Mr. Sullivan?
No, if he's not on the line, I'm supportive.
Well, he is here now. Mr. Butler? Good evening. We have a motion on the floor. We were going to table this to the next committee of whole meeting for a in-person presentation, but if I may, we go ahead. This is part of our discussion with respect to the motion. So, Mr. Butler, welcome to the city council, and let's see what you have to say.
Mayor, point of order.
Yes,
We
go
have to
ahead.
get rid of this tabling motion first.
Do we have to act on the motion first? If we do,
Well,
he
it's a
can't
tabling
speak.
motion, which we shouldn't have been discussing in the first place.
Yeah, there is no discussion.
I know, and we were discussing it. That's where my point is. We need to get rid of it and then let Mr. Butler have his
Okay,
say.
very good. Yeah, thank you, Councilor Barbo. So it's been moved and supported. There is no discussion. It's to table without any clarification whatsoever about the motion. So a motion to table, is there all in favor of tabling signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Councilor Barbo. Mr. Butler, welcome.
That was tabling it,
Thank you
so
for
he
having
can't talk.
me.
Right?
Hang on one moment.
We need to untable the
Well, it's
motion.
too late. It's tabled. The
Then he
motion
can't
was.
talk, then he
Well,
can't.
that's life in the big city. So moved and supported, and there was no discussion. We voted on it, so that's it. So I'm asking our city attorney, can we have Mr. Butler make a presentation anyway?
We could accept comment as informational, I think.
Okay, that's fine with me then.
Thank you. We had a point of order discussion here, Mr. Butler. We apologize for the confusion, but as per our city attorney, we can go ahead and receive additional comments and information from you with respect to this. So go ahead, and welcome to the council meeting. Thank you. Mr. Butler?
Sorry, I missed that. Is there something that you're looking for on my end?
Well, yeah, we're looking for some information. We had a motion on the floor because we didn't have you on the line, and there was a motion to table this until the next committee of whole meeting, so we get a formal presentation from you in person, so we can ask some questions of you. And now that tabling motion passed, and so now it's been referred to the next committee of whole meeting, which would be the following Tuesday, June the 29th, I believe, at 9 a.m. No? July 6th. Then our next committee meeting will be July 6th, which is a Tuesday. And so we would probably ask you to come back and give us a formal presentation at that time if you were available to do so. And are you?
I'm happy to provide anything digitally. Our travel is limited if you're looking for an in-person presentation, so I cannot physically be there, but I'm happy to make any presentation over the phone or over Zoom or something similar.
Okay, thank you. And Brian, we can go ahead and accept that today. Okay, go ahead, Mr. Butler. Give us a little rundown on what your company's all about and what you're going to be providing for us, and so we can move forward with some additional discussion at our next committee of the whole meeting.
Sure. I'll talk for about five minutes or so. Tell me if anything comes to the and I also have a deck for soul. But we're a dockless scooter company. So our goal is to bring together by providing them with an eco-friendly mode of transportation. We started this company in 2017. And the early do. And we're currently live in about 250 cities. And that spans multiple continents, dozens of countries. And we look at this as a way for us to get into really all cities, big and small. So you've likely seen these in places like St. Paul or Minneapolis or things of that nature. But we're also have developed relationships with smaller cities of Virginia size, cities like Grand Rapids, cities like Marshall, Minnesota. Cities like Albert Lee, right? So all cities that I think are, if you had asked us a couple of years ago if those were cities that we would like to develop relationships with, we probably would have passed on that. But now we kind of have a new strategy of how we think. So we believe that all communities, all cities, big and small, deserve this type of transportation, not just those kind of larger metropolitan areas. So the way that the program works is just looking for a pilot program. Probably hundreds on the road. This would be for about 9 to 12 months. There would be no capital commitment required from the city. There would be an agreement in the form of a member understanding between the city that would spell out abilities with the action that agreements. The city would have the ability to end that if they felt like this program was valuable, or to terminate that, and we'll shake hands and walk away. So I need some time. I'll pause to see if there are any questions.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Butler. I think what we're going to do, we're going to take a look at this proposal that we have before us, get some more information from our economic development team. We're going to discuss this at our next committee home meeting, which is scheduled for Tuesday, July the 6th. Correct? And we'll probably be calling you back then, and we'll probably have some additional questions for you with regards to this program that you've developed. That being said, I did confer with our city attorney, and he said that some additional questions could be asked at this point in time. So does any counselor right now have any questions or comments they'd like to make? Councilor Paulson.
Thank you. I did have a question regarding the potential location that was being thought about. In the city of Virginia, have you mapped out a potential location of where these scooters would be physically present?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the way that our business works is we actually partner with a local business or local entity to facilitate the operations of our business. So while I have never been to Virginia, the business that we partner with obviously knows the market and knows your community so much better than we ever could. So because of their knowledge of your city and of their own town, they'll actually help us try to find some of those locations. So I can't say definitively where I think this will be just yet. It's something that we work with that local partner, and we also work with city staff to determine those locations. And we'll figure out, hey, are there certain spots where we feel like scooters shouldn't be there or shouldn't be parked there? Those are all things that we kind of figured out, but we won't really have a sense of this until we're pretty close to a launch. But just looking through the town itself, it's very easy to find certain locations, perhaps around the college, certain locations near food, restaurants, coffee shops, things of that nature.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
And thank you, Mr. Butler. This is Larry Cuffey, the mayor of Virginia. I'm supportive of the bird scooter concept. I think we just have to work out the logistics of how that's going to work. And we just need a little more information from our staff, some more research, which will be provided to us at our next committee of the whole meeting, which will be July the 6th. So does anybody else have any questions at this time? Well, we have none. Thank you very much for Mr. Butler for coming on the line, and we'll be in contact with you in the near future.
Thank you for having
Yes, sir. Thank you. Okay. All right. Move to the next item on the agenda was item 7, unfinished business. We do have some unfinished business this evening. Item 7.1, it's adopt resolution number 21111 as the second reading for the sale and transfer of city property located at 905 6th Avenue South, which is parcel ID number 090-0030-07450 to Christopher and Kelsey Gianlorenzi in the amount of $500.
I'll move the second reading.
I'll support, Mayor.
Councilor Johnson moves to approve the second reading and supported by Councilor Baraboo. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 7.2, Authorize the mayor and city administrator to enter into agreement with Cole Appraisal and Consulting LLC to provide appraisal services for the city of Virginia.
So moved to authorize the city staff to enter into the agreement.
Thank you. Move to approve by Counselor Johnson. Is there support? Support by Counselor Barnzelli. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We'll move to item 8, discussion items. Item 8.1, from the Planning and Zoning meeting that was held on June 7th, 2021. Item 8.1A, consider the following variance request from Sarah and Brad Carlson located at 602 14th Street North. Item 8.A1, approve the variance of 5-foot variance to the minimum 5-foot rear yard setback requirement to construct a new deck 10.5 feet by 16 feet, 0 feet from the southern property line. Looking for council action.
I'll move to approve.
Councilor Paulson moves to approve of the planning and zoning request. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Councilor Beyondich. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 8.1B, consider the following variance request for Joyce Mann at 1307 10th Street South. Item 8.1B1, approve a 1-foot variance to the minimum 3-foot height fence requirement in the front yard to construct a new fence 4 feet in height.
So moved.
Moved by Councilor Beyondich. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Councilor Barnzelli. Is there any further discussion? Yes, Councilor Barnzelli.
When they bring this to planning and zoning, they approve it first, don't they?
Right, these are recommendations for approval by planning and zoning
Yes.
for us to consider.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you. It's been moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Mr. Sullivan.
Thank you, Mayor. One thing that came out of this at the Planning Commission meeting that's important to note is that we've been getting some requests lately for fences, and we do have a height requirement. And the commission commented on how it's really difficult right now to find 3-foot high fencing, and it's typically sold at 4 feet. That's a real problem. So as part of the zoning ordinance revisions that we're working on, that's something we're going to institute, so it's not a pain, and we're up with the times, and we're meeting what the building, the businesses that are in the building supplies are selling. So I think we're off, and it's a little old, and we need to get up with the times and meet what is actually being produced.
And so as you move forward with the planning and zoning overhaul, this is one item that you'd want to take a look at increasing from 3 foot to 4 foot?
That is correct.
Thank you, Mr. Sullivan. Moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 8.2 is adopt the resolution for the donation to the Tennis for All facility.
I'll move to the resolution accepting a donation to the city for the Tennis for All building.
Thank you. Thank you. Moved by Councilor Paulson. Support?
I'll support.
Support by Councilor Friedlieb. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 8.3 is adopt the resolution for the donation to the fire department. Motion by Councilor Barnzelli to approve. Is there support?
I'll support.
Support by Councilor Paulson. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 8.4, approve the request to block off the east half of the 100 block of Chestnut Street for the Downtown Dance Academy for a performance on July 2nd, 2021.
So moved.
Moved by Councilor Beyondich,
I'll support.
supported by Councilor Friedlieb. Is there any further discussion?
Mayor, that should be July 1st, the first Thursday.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Sorry about that. It's my.
Yes,
my
I'm
fault.
sorry. Thursday, July the 1st, so the motion will be for July 1st, Council Beyondich and Councilor Freely. It's Thursday, July 1st, not July 2nd. Okay, thank you. From 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. No further discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 8.5, a handout that we just received this evening from the Lyric for the Arts, signed by Lindsay Bergen for the First Thursday's QC Assistant. We are formally requesting that the east end of the 100 block of Chestnut Street, oh, this is one we just did? Yeah. So we'll change that request from July 2nd to July 1st, is that correct? Okay, so thank you. So we've done that. Okay, thank you. Okay, there's a, okay, all right, thank you. Okay, we'll move to item 9, committee reports. Item 9.1, the committee of the whole meeting that was held on June 15th, 2021. We'll turn this portion of the council meeting over to our city administrator, Britt C. Bennis. There'll be a couple of changes. There'll be deletion of item J and item M on the agenda, as these have already been approved during the consent agenda. Britt?
At the Committee of the Whole meeting on June 15th, we had a discussion from Mike Chapley of Tierney Brothers regarding the request for a change order for the screens for the mech that dropped down from the ceiling located in the main ballroom. There was a clerical error on the original bid being priced at $800 each when they were actually, should have been priced at over $8,000. Tierney has reduced the price to $5,134.67 per screen for a total purchase price of $20,538.68 for all 4 screens. It was moved and supported to approve that change order for the sale of 4 in-ceiling screens for the mech at a price of $5,134.67 each for a total change order of $20,538.68.
I'll move the change order.
Councilor Johnson moves to approve the change order. Is there support?
I'll support, Mayor.
Support by Councilor Baraboo. Is there any further discussion? Councilor Beyondich.
I will not be supporting this. I had asked if we could instead remove some items from the tyranny package, and when we are at the end of the project, if the money was still available, we could add them back in. All the infrastructure could be in place. I just don't feel that I can approve a change order of this amount. So I will be voting no.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Beyondich. It has been moved and supported at committee level and moved and supported here at council level. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'm sorry, Councilor Baraboo?
This is an integral and one of the most important parts of the MIC for the convention center, because those are pull-downs in that whole convention center for different venues if they're going to go on at some at the same time, different ones. So that's why I'm supporting it.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? Councilor Beyondich.
And I'm not opposed to what it is needed for. What I was talking about at the committee level was that any items that were added on that were not integral to the project, we could hold back on, and if we had monies available at the end, go ahead and add them back in.
Okay, thank you. Okay, moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Councilor Paulson.
Thank you, Mayor. I guess I would tend to agree with Councilor Beyondich. We did have that conversation at the committee level regarding, I believe it was the add-on packages for the fitness portion, and I cannot remember what the total was. But in some of our design team meetings, we are getting kind of close to some of those budgetary items. So I think tonight, I'm probably going to walk it back and not support that tonight. Just because I'd like to have some, yes, we need the equipment, but at the end of our agenda, is addressing another issue with Tierney and our output and our production. And as the echo happens tonight again, and as our presenter couldn't present again tonight, I'm less inclined to approve this tonight without having more discussion and more teeth into what we're doing with Tierney. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Just let me say one comment. Regardless of what decision comes tonight or how this vote goes, these screens still have to be put in. So we have to put the screens in now. If you want to take something out later on, you can do that. But right now, we're voting on the screen, so I'm going to be supporting that. So it's been moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Councilor Beyondich.
I want to clarify, thank you. I want to clarify, I don't have a problem with the screens. That's not why I'm opposing the change order. I would like to pull some of the things that were added into that package out until we get the project done. The screens need to go in. I totally agree with that. Once the project's done, let's look at what we can put back in. I'm not opposed to the screens. I am opposed to the change order, the amount, and what can we walk back on and add back in at the end. I think my frustration is the dollars that we're going to get to an end of a project. And the screens we need, other items we may not. So I just want that clarified. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I think that's understandable. But as the design team moves forward and as we discuss these items, when it gets down to the end with the Tierney package, I think those can be vetted at that level. But right now, to hold up the screen approval before you make any adjustments in other parts of the Tierney package, I think it's prudent of us to continue to move forward with that and then make those decisions later on down the road, what you want to take out. So I'm going to be supporting this. So it's been moved and supported. Is there any further discussion?
One more, Mayor.
Councilor Baraboo.
That's where your contingency fund comes in. If we get down to the end of the contingency fund, that's where you look at dumping stuff. That's what's always been done on big projects throughout the life of the history of the city. You don't dump them ahead of time. You wait until the end when the contingency fund is disappeared and there's no longer any money left. Thank you.
Okay, so it has been moved and supported. We've had significant discussion. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
No.
Roll call, please, Pam.
Puffy,
Aye.
Baraboo, Friedlieb,
Aye.
Paulson,
No.
Beyondich, Johnson,
Aye.
Aaronzelli.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-2. Thank you. Next item, Britt.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is we had the request from Mr. Vidmar regarding the land near 5th Street South, near his home, as he's been requesting for a couple of years, that it be barricaded to keep motorized vehicles from crossing on it, creating a dust and negatively affecting his property. It was moved and supported to block the south end of the city property located on 5th Street South, north of Rogerville Road, after consultation for the installation of the proper barriers with Matt Reed, our engineer of record from SEH, and Bill Hennis, our Public Works Director.
So moved.
Moved by Councilor Johnson. Is there support?
Or
Support by Councilor Paulson. Is there any further discussion? Councilor Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to point out that this has come back and forth a few times. So one of the important things to note is that the actual alley is to the west of the property we're talking about. The piece of property we're talking about is only a piece of property and has just been utilized as a driving surface for nobody knows how many years. So we're really rectifying a problem that should have been taken care of years ago. And I look forward to, as we move around town, there'll be other times that this happens as we move forward with other places within town, that there's some confusion as to who owns it or why do we upkeep it or that kind of stuff. So I think this is a good step as we move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Johnson. Has been moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Councilor Baraboo.
Yeah, I did do further checking on that. That piece of property is on the record books of St. Louis County, owned by the city of Virginia. We did that many years ago when I was on the council, these railroad properties. And as far as anybody goes, unless they challenge it, it's owned by the city of Virginia.
Okay, thank you. It's been moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. This next item is related to this as well, right, Britt?
Correct.
Thank
It
you.
was moved and supported to direct the city attorney to research the title of the property located on Fifth Street South, north of Rogeville Road, to determine the city is in proper ownership of the property and to take the necessary steps to perfect the title.
And do we have any information about that at this time, Mr. Lindsay?
Thank you, Mayor. We do, and I think Council Baraboo correctly stated that the title proper lies with the city. We're looking back. There's a more detailed search that we have to do just to make sure that all the i's were dotted and t's were crossed. But from the initial review of the title, we don't anticipate any major hiccups. A lot of times when you get to this level, it's simply dealing with what's known as inchoate interests, or people who are inadvertently left off deeds. And there's certain restrictions or certain time periods that we look at. But as of this point, we haven't discovered anything. We've got a small bit more to research, but I don't anticipate anything major will be revealed.
Thank you, Mr. Lindsay. Do we vote? Moved and supported. Is there any further discussion?
I'll move the motion.
Okay, moved by Counselor Paulson, supported by Counselor Johnson. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. Thank you.
It was moved and supported to approve the quote received from ACCT Inc. in the amount of $13,110 for the removal and recycling of the fluorescent lamps, ballast, mercury switches, smoke detectors, electronics, fire extinguishers, and scoreboard at the Miners Ice Arena before demolition.
I will move this budgeted item.
Counselor Johnson moves. Is there support?
I'll support.
Support by Counselor Beyondich. Further discussion, just a point of clarification. This came in way under what we had originally anticipated, so that was good news. So moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries.
Park and Recreation Director Brian Silber did state that the Miners Memorial demolition process will begin on June 26, 2021. We've gotten some phone calls, so I'd like to put it officially on the air so everybody understands it's coming down at the end of this month with the official completion by the end of July.
And we also aren't going to do this until ice.
Ice will be done.
Ice will be done. Ice
Yes.
is out.
We will have
Okay.
no hockey going
No
on.
more, okay. So summer ice will be done, and then we'll start that process. Thank you,
Correct.
Britt.
Yep, thank you. Mr. Matt Reed presented the plans to salvage and reconstruct the Virginia Police Garage. As you will recall, we had a fire on July 4th of 2020. The proposal that came forward was to salvage the exterior barrier wall and replace the roof. The existing mechanical unit on top of the roof will be supported and maintained during construction, and the plans that were presented did allow for an extension of the garage to the south. The insurance company will cover $227,900 of the renovation of the garage. However, SCH is estimating that if the city chose to continue with the expansion of the garage, it would cost approximately $638,469.20 total. It was moved and supported to authorize staff to prepare a request for proposals for the competitive bidding process for the renovation of the existing garage as the base project with an additional add alternate for the extension of the police garage.
I will so move.
Move to approve by Counselor Johnson. Is there support?
I'll support.
Support by Counselor Baraboo. Is there any further discussion?
I do, Mayor.
Please.
They did modify the plans to add the security lighting we requested, and then our existing camera system will be replaced and relocated.
Okay, thank you. That was a request by Counselor Johnson and supported by all of us as well. So thank you. Moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
It was moved and supported to approve the temporary use license agreement with Rockstep to allow the Virginia City Band to play in the mall, or now it's called Uptown Virginia, in the case of inclement weather for the 6-week summer concert session.
So moved.
Moved by Counselor Freely. Support by Counselor Beyondich. Further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
It was moved and supported to approve the contract addendum with Vermilion Gold, Inc. to extend the expiration date of the existing agreement until November 30th, 2021.
I'll move approval.
Counselor Paulson moves to approve. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Counselor Freely. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
It was moved and supported to approve the resolution for the agreement with Pace Analytical for laboratory services for the wastewater treatment plant.
So moved.
Move to approve by Counselor Johnson, supported by Counselor Beyondich. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Brian Silber, Park and Recreation Director, announced the MEC grand opening celebration will take place the week of September 20th, 2021. The committee has been working hard on trying to fill the days full of fun things to do, starting with Monday and continuing through the whole week. It was moved and supported to authorize the mayor and city administrator to enter into a contract with Meridian Entertainment, Inc. of Lansing, Michigan for concert performance artists for Friday, September 24th, 2021.
Looking for a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Counselor Johnson. Is there support?
I'll support for discussion.
Support by Counselor Freely for discussion. Further discussion? Counselor Freely.
I was asked today, like, how the city will be able to pay the $100,000+ in anticipation of this concert. And I think in part it's with ticket sales and revenue that would be raised from that. And are you comfortable, Sherry, with the money that we would put forth up front in anticipation of equaling that amount that we're putting out from revenue?
Sherry?
Thank you, Mayor, councilors. Yes, in the meetings we've had with the grand opening committee, that obviously was one of the first questions. So, yes, we do have money set aside for that, and they keep sharpening their pencils, so that's even better. At the last meeting, they found a way to save me another $10,000, so I think we actually might break even. I don't want to say we could make money on it, but we'll do good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sherry. Thank you, Counselor Freely. Is there any further discussion? Counselor Johnson.
And if memory serves me, or this may have been a discussion, but we will be holding our council meeting the final week. Did we have that discussion in here where we were going to hold the council meeting at the miners, that the final meeting in September? Pam's nodding at me. I saw that it won't be during that opening week, but we will be utilizing the facilities to hold a meeting there as well to demonstrate again the capabilities of this amazing building.
Okay, so thank you. So it's been moved and supported under item to approve, authorize the mayor and city to enter an agreement with Meridian Entertainment of Lansing, Michigan for the concert performance artists for Friday, September 24th, 2021. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
For the record, there was a motion to authorize city staff to move forward in obtaining additional information on bird scooters. We had Mike Butler here earlier today, and we will be referring that to the July 6th Committee of the Whole meeting.
Thank you, Britt.
Thank you. It was moved and supported to approve the transient merchant license for Co-Tran doing business as Saigon Cafe. We approved that under the consent agenda already today, so no further action is needed. It was moved and supported to approve the request from the Bob Baldrica Bandstand to have the Alcott Park Bandstand rental fees waived and the use of our sound equipment for their Advocates for Family Peace event.
I'll move to waive the fees.
Councilor Johnson moves to approve the waiving of the fees for the Advocates for Family Peace. Is there support?
I'll support.
Support by Councilor Baraboo. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
It was moved and supported to approve Councilor Friedlieb, Councilor Johnson, and Councilor Beyondich as volunteers to the MEC Event Coordinator, I think is the title, Interview Committee.
Thank you.
I'll move.
Moved by Councilor Paulson. Is there support?
I'll support, Mayor.
Support by Councilor Baraboo. Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Again, just for a point of order, it was moved and approved to approve the transient merchant license for the Wow Catering Minnesota for the Food Truck Festival, which occurred last Saturday. This was also part of the consent agenda in today's packet.
Thank you.
And the final item, it was moved and supported to direct city staff to work with the vendors and the cable commission to get the equipment in the council chambers up to date and the speeds up for the meetings to run smoother along and to make sure the equipment for the visual broadcasting is operating correctly.
And do you need a motion for that?
Sure.
I'm looking for a motion.
So moved.
By Johnson, by Counselor Johnson, supported by Counselor Paulson. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
No further items from that meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Britt. Item 10, Commission Liaison Reports. Does any city council have a commission liaison report they'd like to give this evening? Seeing none, we'll move to item 11, which are department head reports. Does any department head have a report they'd like to give this evening? I think Sherry might have a update for us on the budget.
Well, actually, I am working on the budget, but I have an update on the audit.
Thank you.
And I'd like to, it's pretty close so that we can meet the June 30th deadline without asking for an extension. A little applause there. But we would like to call in Walker Grew and Honey and do a presentation, the council. We were hoping that we could do it on July 6th, but he is on vacation, much needed vacation. So if we can maybe do sometime after that week.
Okay, we're looking for, you're looking for Walker, Drew, and Heidi to come and give us a presentation and run through the audit with us, is that correct? And so as part of that audit process, were there any significantly identified issues other than the normal process moving forward, something we need to research and consider prior to that presentation?
No, I just think that it was a very interesting year with COVID. And we had quite a few grant money and federal grant and aid come in. And I think, obviously, I assume it's going to be a live feed on the public needs to know just what we did do during this year.
Okay, so thank you. We will hope that you'll be able to work with the auditor and find out a date that's suitable to make that presentation, preferably sooner than later. Pam?
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to let the council know that last week I was able to attend the MCFOA conference in St. Cloud, and it was very inspiring. The speakers were excellent, and I had a very good time. Britt was also there. And I would just want to thank you for letting me attend. I am the Region 2 Director for the MCFOA. So I had a few more extra duties to do while I was there, but it was very good. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Pam. And Britt, thank you. Okay, any other department head reports or any, pardon?
I do have something.
Please, Britt.
Thank you. Last Saturday, Revive Virginia held their first food truck festival for 2021. We got a very nice day. It wasn't very hot, it was not raining. It was a really good day. We had a lot of fun. A lot of people came downtown, and we want to thank everybody for coming down and supporting downtown Virginia.
It was a success. Thank you. Councilor Bearable.
Yeah, there was an interesting little magazine, senior, I can't remember what the total thing, I pulled it out of a freebie at Super One the other day, and it had the food festival actually in there, which I was surprised, but I was surprised it was all local things that are going on and different areas, different dates in there. They had stuff on turkeys coming up here. They had all kinds of little interesting tidbits, how to make rhubarb desserts and all kinds of little things. I don't know where that one came from. I haven't seen it before, so I pulled it, but it was interesting because it did have the food festival on there. It said it told us it was the second year. I thought that was great.
And the food was so good, I had to go to the instant cash machine to get some more money. So, but thanks to Revive Virginia for all the hard work. It was excellent. And I see Britt in the golf cart cruising down the street, and Steve Carlson with his radio voice pointing out the various pieces of information and directing us to the vendors at hand. So thank you. Okay, anything else? Okay, we'll move to council reports. Does any city councilor have a report they'd like to give this evening? Councilor Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor. I actually have two things tonight. One, I'm the council representative for Youth in Action, formerly known as Iron Range Youth in Action, but now it's all of St. Louis County. And they are currently looking for students grades 7 through 12 to volunteer through the summer. If you know somebody who's interested or like them to reach out, they can be found at yiamn.org or on Facebook at yiam.org. And the second thing I'm going to do tonight is really kind of personal, but bear with me if you will. So as some of you may know this evening, I'd like to take some time to honor Pride Month. I can only speak for me when I say Pride is all about love, acceptance, and inclusion. For years, I have considered myself a hardworking ally to make sure everyone has a voice and is heard. Pride Month to me is about taking stock of my relationships and truly giving thanks for all I have. A very close male relative of mine once asked, does a dude just wake up one morning and decide, I like dudes? And I think the answer is no. No one does not just wake up one morning and decide. A person knows. A person does, however, wake up day after day to find the courage to share. And one day that courage is there. And the courage and the trust that loved ones and communities will accept me as me, only now I have been given a label that allows me to live my truth. Many people have also always assumed and whispered about my sexual preference for years. And I would like to stop the whispering and to declare that I am bisexual. I define that for me, and what it means for me is that I hope that someday I will find joy with someone, their gender is not a factor, that I will be able to continue to be me, and I am proud to acknowledge that Pride Month is a month and a time of love and acceptance and inclusion for all people. And after my training today, I think it's really important that people, young people, people growing up in our community, be able to see people who look and feel and act like they do. So that's where I'm at tonight, and I appreciate the opportunity, and I thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you, Councilor Johnson. Any other councilor reports or information you'd like to share? Councilor Friedli.
Thank you, Councilor Johnson. That was well stated. And this is not a report, but I do have a concern. It's great that we have street and alley projects underway throughout the city right now, but it became quite apparent today that there's a lot of confusion with regard to traffic patterns and traffic alterations. And there was traffic that was zooming past through our alley and through our parking lots in the neighborhood that I'm at. So I don't know what can be done about it. I don't know if we were informing the public well enough to know that if you're not on a major thoroughfare in the city, but you're coming through an alley, you should tone it down instead of going 30 miles per hour, maybe 15. But right now, there's some endangering situations that are occurring in the alleyways along 3rd Street that I think should be remedied in some fashion. I don't know if that means police presence maybe, or public announcement or something to just let the public know that when you're using non-thoroughfare streets, that you should tone down your speed on behalf of the neighborhoods that you're going through. Thank you.
Thank you. We do have an ordinance that with the signage, and there's all parts of the ordinance. The one I recall, and this doesn't respect the alleys, it's respect to city streets. The speed limit is 30 miles an hour in Virginia, unless it's otherwise posted, and that's on a public street. The alleyway is a little bit different. I think there's an ordinance that addresses alleys, but I can't remember what the speed limit is in the alley. I think it's limited to 50 miles an hour, but please don't quote me. We'd have to take a look at what the ordinance says with respect to that, Councilor Friedli. And so traffic patterns, when people get frustrated when they can't get one way, they try to make a shortcut to the other, ending up in the alley and trying to rush to whatever their appointment was. And so I think we need to maybe direct staff to or have the police department take a look at that, or we can look at our traffic patterns moving forward. So thank you. Councilor Bear, would you have something?
Yeah, they have started work on 3rd Street. If you notice, they tore off the top layer before they start doing the actual underground work. There are big signs that will be blocking alleys down the road here on the avenues, because they're going to be doing 8th Avenue at the same time, and they'll be blocking those ends so people will have one end for local traffic, and the signage will be there from my understanding. So that should slow up the traffic running down these alleys to just local people going into the alleys. So that's going to help. And the people that are on 3rd Street, most of them don't park on 3rd Street, they park behind. If you take a look and drive that, you see very few, there's only a couple driveways on 3rd Street where they just temporarily park. Most of it's behind in the alleys. So that will get slowed up with signage. But they haven't got them all up yet. They got them sitting there, but they're not up.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Bearable. Okay, I just have one quick announcement I'd like to make, and it's about, it's about what we do as a community and who supports our community. And so, for me, mining is the engine that drives our economy. There's no question about that. There are other entities that are part of that, but all the ancillary services that are provided helps our community grow, helps our community stay solvent, helps maintain jobs in this area so we can raise our children and give them a good education. So that being said, the mining companies do a lot for our communities, a lot that maybe we don't even know about. They don't make the formal announcements of what they do. But looking at their foundations and how they work, I just would like to give you one example, and I'm going to point it out because this is the information I received. It's regarding the Cleveland Cliffs Foundation. And just to give you an idea, and this came information came to me through RAMS, and that the Cleveland Cliffs Charitable Foundation gives a lot of money every year. But just let's give me a list of just one mining company and what they do for our community on an annual basis. $150,000 multi-year pledge to the Virginia Youth Hockey Association for a center hung scoreboard for a scoreboard at the Miners Event and Convention Center. $45,000 multi-year pledge to the Salvation Armies of Hibbing, Virginia, to provide housing assistance in families in need. $36,000 to the Northern St. Louis County Habitat for Humanity. $13,000 to the Bay Area Historical Society for the Silver Bay Historical Archive Project. $10,000 to the Greenhaven Parent Teachers Organization of Hibbing for an inclusive playground. $10,000 to the North Shore Area Partners for Senior Centers in Silver Bay. $10,000 to the Children's Dental Services to provide dental care for those who can't afford it on the Iron Range. $10,000 to Northern Minnesota Red Cross to provide home relief services. $10,000 to the Wolf Ridge Environmental Learning Center. $10,000 to United Way of Northeast Minnesota to support the Buddy Backpack and Lunch Mentoring programs. $7,000 to the Sisu Heritage to help the town of Embarrass replace its information center restroom, and $27,500 to local food banks and food shelves. This is a small list of the things that are provided by our mining companies throughout Northeast Minnesota, and this is Cleveland Cliffs is just one example. And so I think we have to be thankful that we have an entity such as this that invests in our community. So I thought that should be important that we share that at this time. So thanks to Cleveland Cliffs and all the other entities, Komatsu and all these others, and Lakehead Constructors, and all the entities within the business community that do so much for our community every day. And they don't ask for anything in return. So, thank you. Okay, is there anything else that anybody would like to add before we adjourn? Okay, we will adjourn to our next council meeting, which is scheduled for Tuesday, July 13th, 2021, 5:30 p.m. in the council chambers. Thank you, everyone. We stand adjourned.